I never thought I'd be one of those guys who catches his wife cheating on him, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I've been with Lisa for about 8 years now. At first, everything seemed perfect. She was sharp, funny, and she knew how to push all my buttons. We got married pretty young, but I thought we'd grow old together. I never saw any reason to doubt her loyalty. But lately, a few things started feeling off. It's not that she was outright mean or overtly cheating right in front of me. No, she's too smart for that. But small things started adding up. She'd come home later than usual, saying she was working late. Then she'd brush it off when I asked about her evening. She'd get defensive if I even hinted at her being unfaithful. She'd lie about small stuff, like where she was or who she was with. I remember once I found her phone open on the bed, and there was a text from someone named Drew, saying how much he loved the way she looked when she was focused. She quickly deleted it, but I saw enough. I should have suspected then, but I brushed it off. I told myself maybe she was just talking to an old friend or a coworker, nothing more. But last week I got a call from her phone. It was from an unknown number, and I picked it up out of curiosity. There was silence, then I overheard her voice, definitely her talking in a way that didn't sound like a normal chat. It was more intimate, almost flirtatious. I froze, heart pounding. I listened closer and caught her saying things like, "Tonight was so good, I can't wait to see you again, and don't worry, I'll find a way to see you." That moment, everything changed. I didn't say anything right away. I waited until she came home. When she walked in, I was sitting on the couch, face cold as stone. She looked annoyed, like I was bothering her. I asked her who she was talking to, and she rolled her eyes, acting like I was stupid. "It's none of your business," she snapped. I pressed her, and she finally admitted she'd been seeing someone behind my back, said it was just sex, that it didn't mean anything, and that I was overreacting. That's when I knew she was lying through her teeth. Because the thing was, I started noticing strange stuff on her phone, naked pictures from her, messages that didn't make sense, and even more suspicious texts that showed she'd been sneaking around for months. I saw that she had a secret folder labeled Drew on her cloud backup, which was linked to her phone and her laptop. I even managed to get into her cloud account, and what I found was a treasure trove of lies and betrayal. Personal photos, private messages, even plans to meet him again. She'd been cheating on me with this guy, Drew, a puzzle designer she'd met during work on a project, an anniversary crossword she designed herself, actually. It was supposed to be a surprise gift, which makes the whole thing even more disgusting. I couldn't believe my eyes. The puzzle she was working on, this intricate crossword meant for our anniversary, was their secret code. They started their affair during theme development meetings. I remember her bragging about how she was creating the perfect puzzle, how it was her passion, and how it kept her busy. Only now I realized those meetings weren't just about the puzzle. They were about sneaking in time to meet, to flirt, to fuck. The software she used, the cloud backups, everything was connected. His photos, her personal stuff, her lies, they were all there. I saw her smiling with him, holding his hand, and I felt like the ground was sliding out from under me. I don't even know how I managed to keep my composure when I confronted her again. The look in her eyes was pure disdain. "You're paranoid," she spat. "You think I'm cheating because you're insecure. You're making this up. Drew's just a friend, a coworker. You're overreacting because you're boring and insecure." That's her favorite line, how I'm boring, how I don't satisfy her, how I'm not enough. She even tried to gaslight me, telling me I must have misunderstood, that I was imagining things, that I was crazy. But I was. I knew what I saw, and I knew what I felt. The betrayal cut deep. I felt angry, humiliated, like I'd been played for a fool. I went from feeling hurt to furious in seconds. I wanted to shake her, scream at her, but all I could do was stand there and watch her lie again and again. That's when I realized this wasn't just some stupid fling. It was a full-blown affair, and she didn't care how much she'd hurt me. I felt the betrayal as a punch to the stomach, and I knew I had to do something. I couldn't let her keep lying, keep sneaking around with him while I stayed clueless. I wasn't going to be the guy she cheated on and then lied to about it. That's where I am now, trying to figure out what the hell to do next. After I found out about the affair, everything shifted. I couldn't focus at work, I couldn't sleep, and all I kept seeing was her lying face and those damn messages. I felt sick, like I'd been punched in the gut repeatedly. For days, I just sat there trying to process what I had learned. I went back and reread everything I'd found, her secret folder, the texts, the photos. It was a flood of betrayal I wasn't prepared for. The worst part was how she kept acting like it was nothing. Every time I brought up the evidence, she'd brush it off, call me paranoid, accuse me of being jealous or insecure. She'd say, "You're overreacting, Mike. This is just a stupid mistake. I didn't mean anything, I swear. Drew's just a guy I work with, not some love of my life." But I knew better. I could see it in her eyes, the flicker of guilt, the way she clammed up when I pressed her. I felt like I was losing my mind. One night, I decided I had to get some clarity. I needed to know if I was just imagining things or if she was really lying. I took her phone when she was in the shower and I started digging through her messages. She had deleted a lot, but enough was left behind. I found more texts from Drew, some that made my blood boil. They were intimate, full of innuendos and promises to meet up. She'd even mentioned their plans for a special night on the anniversary I thought she was planning for us. My stomach clenched. That's when I saw the final nail in the coffin. A series of scheduled meetings on her calendar labeled Puzzle Dev, but with times that didn't match her work hours. I looked at the location, an address she'd never mentioned before. It was a boutique hotel near downtown. I was furious and sick at the same time. How could she do this? How could she lie so easily for months? I decided I needed to see her in the act. I needed to catch her red-handed or get some undeniable proof. I waited until she said she was going to a work dinner, but I knew better. I followed her, parked nearby, and watched her go inside that hotel. I felt like I was in a nightmare. I had no idea what I was going to do when I confronted her, but I knew I couldn't let this slide. I kept my distance in the car, just watching for what felt like hours, until she finally came out around midnight looking flushed and happy. I saw her get into a different car and my stomach twisted. Her face was lit up, like she just had the best sex of her life. I drove home that night numb. When I finally got in, I grabbed her phone, knowing she'd probably be too tired or too drunk to notice. I knew I had to be careful. Her reaction if she caught me snooping would be explosive. I started digging through her messages again, trying to find more proof. I came across a chat thread with Drew, full of intimate talk, plans to meet, and even pictures of her in bed with him. She sent him explicit photos, and I saw her mentioning how she couldn't wait to see him again, how she'd miss their secret moments. It felt like my world was falling apart. It wasn't just about her cheating anymore. It was about the betrayal of trust that I thought was unbreakable. I sat there for hours, heart pounding, shaking with rage and heartbreak. I wanted to scream, to cry, to do something violent, anything to make her pay for what she'd done. But I also knew I had to be smart. I couldn't let her know I knew everything yet. I had to play it carefully, gather my strength, and decide what to do next. That night I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her in anger, not yet. I needed a plan. I had to think about whether I wanted to save this marriage or cut my losses. But one thing was clear: this wasn't just some fling. This was a full-blown betrayal, and the woman I loved had been lying to my face for months. Part of me wanted to destroy her, to make her feel as worthless as she'd made me feel. But another part, the part that still loved her, was trying to hold on to some shred of hope that maybe, just maybe, I could fix this. I spent the next few days in a fog, trying to gather my thoughts. I knew I had to act soon. I couldn't keep pretending everything was normal when I knew the truth. I felt like I'd been sucker punched, but I knew this was only the beginning. After a couple of days of wandering around in a fog, I finally decided I couldn't keep pretending I was okay. Every time I saw her, I felt this huge knot in my stomach. The betrayal was eating me alive. I had to confront her, but I knew I couldn't do it without a plan. I had to be strategic. I had to catch her off guard, get her to admit everything, and then decide what to do from there. So I waited until she was at work, pretending to be normal. I knew her schedule well enough now. She had a habit of coming home late on Tuesdays and staying out until almost midnight. That was when I decided I'd break into her email account and cloud backups. I wanted to see what else she was hiding, more proof, more clarity. I'd already seen her explicit photos, but I needed to be sure there weren't any other surprises. I managed to get into her email account without her knowing. I've been secretly saving her passwords for a while just in case. What I found was worse than I expected. There were messages from Drew, obviously not just work stuff. They were full of sexual innuendos, plans for secret meetups, and even photos she'd sent him. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was right there in black and white. Her admitting she couldn't wait to see him again, how she felt alive with him, how much she hated the dullness of her life with me. She'd even sent him a picture of herself in bed with just a sheet covering her and told him how much she missed their special nights. That was it. I'd seen enough. I printed everything out, saved the screenshots on a thumb drive, and waited for her to come home that night. I wanted her to see I knew everything. I was ready to confront her, to hear her bullshit excuses, to see how she'd try to twist this around. I was furious, but I also felt this sick sense of relief. Finally, I had the truth. No more guessing, no more doubts. Just raw, ugly reality. When she got back, I was sitting on the couch, her phone in my hand. Her face paled instantly when she saw it. "Mike," she started, but I cut her off. "Who is Drew, Lisa?" I asked, voice cold and steady. Her eyes darted around and she tried to deny it, but I had the proof. The printed messages, the photos. She looked like a cornered animal and her lips trembled as she lied again, saying it was nothing, just some stupid flirtation, that she didn't mean to hurt me. But I didn't buy it. I told her I'd been snooping, that I knew everything. Her face twisted into a sneer. "You're crazy," she spat. "You're jealous and paranoid, Drew. Just a guy I happen to work with. You're making a mountain out of a molehill." I looked at her and said, "I saw the pictures, Lisa. I saw the texts. You've been cheating on me for months. Don't bullshit me now." Her eyes flashed with anger. "Oh, so now it's my fault. You're just some insecure loser who can't handle a little fun. Maybe if you weren't such a fucking bore, I wouldn't have looked elsewhere." That's when I felt my blood boiling. I told her I was done. I told her I'd had enough of her lies, her bullshit, her cheating. I was sick of her acting like she was the victim. I said, "You've betrayed everything we had. That puzzle, that anniversary gift, you lied about it all. You used it as a cover for your affair." She looked at me with pure contempt, then started crying, trying to make me feel guilty, trying to turn it around and blame me for everything. But I had no more patience. I felt hollowed out. My trust was shattered. I wanted to hurt her, but I knew I couldn't do that without consequences. I told her I was leaving, that I didn't want to see her face anymore until she realized what she'd thrown away. I packed my things that night, feeling sick, angry, and betrayed. I left her standing there, crying and denying everything, but I didn't care. She lied to me too many times. I knew this was over. That night was the hardest of my life. I felt like I was mourning a death, my marriage, my trust, my future. All the plans we made, all the promises we kept, gone. I kept thinking about the woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, and how that woman had been replaced with someone else's secret lover. I kept asking myself how I let it get this far, how I missed all the signs. The pain was raw. It hit me like a punch to the gut every time I remembered her sneering at me, her lying to my face. But amidst all that pain, I knew one thing: I couldn't stay. I couldn't keep pretending it was okay. I had to move on, even if it hurt like hell. I promised myself I wouldn't be stupid again, that I'd learn from this and never let someone betray me like that again. It's still fresh, still raw, but I know I have to accept it and keep going. I just wish I'd seen the signs sooner. I wish I hadn't trusted her so blindly. I hope whoever reads this knows that sometimes the people closest to you can turn out to be the biggest liars and cheaters. And when they do, you've got to be strong enough to walk away. The days that followed were a blur. I remember waking up in the morning and feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. Every little thing reminded me of her, the way she used to laugh, the way she'd hold my hand, even the stupid little gestures we used to share. It was like someone had taken my life and smashed it into pieces. I felt so angry, so humiliated, and honestly so damn lost. I kept asking myself how I hadn't seen it coming, how I'd missed all the signs that she was lying behind my back. I spent hours sifting through everything I'd found, her private messages, the photos, the calendar entries. I kept thinking about the moment I saw her in that hotel, her face glowing from some secret night with Drew. That image haunted me. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind, so stupid. The woman I married, the woman I trusted with everything, had been cheating on me with some guy she met through her stupid puzzle project. I remember feeling this surge of rage that I couldn't control. I'd always been a calm guy, but that day I wanted to scream. I wanted to destroy everything she'd ever built with me. I even thought about going to her workplace, confronting her in front of everyone, but I knew that wouldn't help. It'd only make things worse. I had to keep it together for my own sanity. That's when I decided I'd be the one to end this. I'd make the move, but I'd do it on my own terms. I started planning what I was going to say. I knew I couldn't just blurt out everything. I had to build a case. I wanted her to see that I wasn't just some naive husband who was going to take her lies anymore. I was going to make her regret every lie, every betrayal, every moment she made me feel like I was nothing. I also knew I had to be careful. She was bitchy, manipulative, and good at twisting the truth. I didn't want her to gaslight me again or turn the tables on me. One thing I did was put her phone and laptop under constant watch, just in case she tried to delete anything. I also reached out to a friend I knew she trusted, someone she'd confide in, just to get a sense of her state of mind. Turns out, she was already spinning her stories, trying to blame everything on me. She told her friend I was paranoid, possessive, and crazy. That right there told me she was trying to paint herself as the victim, so I'd be the bad guy if I ever decided to confront her more seriously. While I was gathering my thoughts, I couldn't stop feeling this deep sense of sadness. I loved her once. I truly believed we had something special. But now I saw that was a lie. She'd been lying to me every day, cheating on me, and then acting like I was the one at fault. That's what hurt the most, her total disregard for what we once had. I kept thinking about all the plans we made, all the trips, the anniversaries, the quiet nights we shared. It felt like someone had ripped out my heart and stomped on it. But even with all that pain, I knew I had to act. I couldn't keep living in this chaos. So I called a lawyer, started thinking about divorce, and considered what I'd do if she tried to spin more lies. I also realized I needed to get some space, time to heal and think. So I moved out of the house into a cheap apartment nearby. I needed to breathe, to get away from her toxicity and that sick feeling of betrayal. I also started seeing a therapist, because honestly, I needed help just coping with all these emotions. That period was the hardest. I'd sit alone in my new place and wonder if I'd ever trust someone again, if I'd ever feel whole after this. I'd replay everything in my head, trying to find some kind of closure. Sometimes I'd get angry, other times I'd just cry. One thing I learned is that betrayal cuts deep, but it also reveals who people really are. Lisa's true colors showed on that day, and it was a harsh lesson. I'd been naive, I'd given her my trust, but now I understood that trust isn't something to take for granted. Looking back, I realize I was lucky in a way. At least I found out before she could do more damage. It hurts like hell, but I know I need to move on. I can't keep living with the ghost of what we had, dragging around the pain of betrayal. I've started focusing on myself, rebuilding my confidence, and trying to find some clarity. I know I'll never forget what happened, but I also know I have to learn to let go. Otherwise, I'll stay stuck in this bitterness forever. That's what I keep telling myself. Healing is a process, and I have to give myself time. It's been a few weeks since I moved out, and honestly, I'm still trying to pick up the pieces. Every day feels like a roller coaster of emotions: anger, sadness, disbelief, and sometimes even a little relief. I keep asking myself how I let it get this far, how I missed all the signs, and why she thought she could get away with it. She always played the victim, called me insecure, said I was boring, as if that was some justification for her cheating. But now I see her for what she was: a liar, a manipulator, someone who threw away our marriage for a quick thrill. The hardest part wasn't just discovering her affair, it was realizing how much I'd trusted her. I'd built a life with her, shared everything. And in the end, she just threw it all aside for some guy she met through her stupid puzzle project. It's like she was bored or unhappy, so she decided to cheat instead of talking to me about it. That realization made me feel stupid for ever believing she was genuinely happy with me. I kept replaying the moments when she lied, the times I questioned her, and she'd dismiss me with a shrug or a snide comment. I also started to reflect on what I want now. Part of me still loves her, or at least the idea of us, what we once had. But I know that's gone. She betrayed that trust, and I don't see how I can ever get it back. I've been thinking about what I want for my future, and honestly, it's clarity. I don't want to be with someone who manipulates and lies, especially not after they've shown their true colors. I deserve better, even if it hurts to admit it. Some days, I get angry at her for being so selfish. She always prided herself on being independent, smart, and in control, but deep down, she was just a woman running from her problems, hiding her shame behind lies and sex. I used to think I was the one who kept her grounded, but now I realize she was just waiting for an excuse to cheat. That realization pisses me off more than anything. It's like I was just some placeholder, someone she could settle for until she found her next thrill. Despite all this, I also feel a lot of disappointment. Disappointed in myself for not noticing sooner, for not seeing the signs, for not protecting myself better. I trusted her with everything, my heart, my feelings, my future, and she threw it all away. I keep telling myself I shouldn't blame myself, but deep down, I wonder if I missed the warning signs because I was too comfortable, too blind to see the truth. That's a hard pill to swallow. Now I'm trying to focus on healing. I've started seeing a therapist, someone I can talk to about all this mess. It helps to get it out, to understand that I'm not crazy for feeling broken. I also started working out again. It's a small thing, but it helps clear my head. I can't control Lisa or what she did, but I can control how I respond to it. I can choose to become stronger, to learn from this, and to move forward. Most importantly, I've decided I won't let this destroy me. I may feel shattered now, but I know I'll rebuild. I'll find someone who truly respects me, who's honest, and who values what we have. Right now, that feels impossible, but I believe it's out there. I just have to be patient and let myself heal. I've learned that trust is fragile and that betrayal cuts deep, but I also know I'll come out of this stronger. I don't want her to win by breaking me, and I won't give her that satisfaction. So for anyone reading this who's going through something similar, here's my advice. Don't ignore the signs. Trust your gut and don't be afraid to walk away when you realize someone isn't worth your pain. It hurts now, but time really does help. You'll learn to breathe again, to love again, and to trust yourself. My heart's still healing, but I know I'll be okay, eventually. And I hope if you're in the same boat, you find your way out of the darkness too. It's strange how time changes everything. The intense pain I felt in the beginning has gradually softened, replaced by a cold resolve I didn't know I was capable of. I still think about Lisa sometimes, about what we had and how she threw it all away for some fleeting excitement with Drew. But those thoughts are less frequent now, replaced by a sense of clarity and a firm understanding that I deserve better. I've learned that trust is a fragile thing, something you give freely, but it can be shattered in an instant. Once broken, it's nearly impossible to put back together, and honestly, I don't want to try. I've come to accept that some betrayals are irreparable, and I've stopped blaming myself for not seeing it sooner. The truth is, I was blinded by my love, my hope that she'd change, that we could fix what was broken. But love isn't enough when someone is determined to betray you. You have to see the signs early, and sometimes you just have to walk away before it's too late. Looking back, I realize this experience has changed me. I'm more cautious now, more aware of what I want and what I won't accept. I refuse to be anyone's backup plan or their secret fallback. I've started to rebuild my confidence piece by piece. I've learned that I can survive heartbreak and betrayal, better, tougher, and more aware of my worth. I've also learned that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away, even when it hurts like hell. Every day is a new chance to move forward, to focus on myself, and to heal. I still have bad days, days when the pain feels fresh and the betrayal seems overwhelming, but those days are fewer now. I remind myself that I am worth more than someone's secret lies and betrayal. I remind myself that I can learn from this, that it's part of my story, but it's not the end of my story. I want anyone reading this who's going through something similar to know this. Trust your instincts, listen to your gut, and don't be afraid to walk away if someone shows you they're not worth it. Love is supposed to lift you up, not tear you down. It's okay to feel broken for a while, but don't let that define you. You're stronger than you think, and you deserve someone who respects and values you, someone who won't betray you behind your back. As for me, I'll keep moving forward, one day at a time. I'll rebuild, I'll trust again, maybe not her, but someone better. Someone who won't lie, cheat, or manipulate. I'll learn to love myself again, piece by piece. And someday, I hope, I'll look back at this chapter not with bitterness, but with a quiet sense of victory that I survived, I learned, and I grew. Because in the end, what I've learned most is this: betrayal is painful, but it's also a wake-up call. It teaches you who you really are and what you truly deserve. And no matter how much it hurts now, it's part of the process of becoming stronger. I'm not there yet, but I will be. And so will you.